obstacle in the path of Yazid's succession to the caliphate. Yazid, a faulted and corrupt individual, knew that he needed the sworn allegiance of Imam Hussein in order to pave his way to the throne. The ensuing conflict culminated on the battlefield of Karbala, where Imam Hussein and 72 of his followers fought Yazid's forces of 80,000 to save the sanctity of Islam. In the words of the greatest Scottish historian, Thomas Carlyle, the best lesson which we get from the tragedy of Karbala is that Hussein and his companions were rigid believers in God. They illustrated that the numerical superiority does not count when it comes to truth and falsehood. The victory of Hussein, despite his minority, marvels me. Imam Hussein had a choice. He could have lived a long life with his family. All he had to do was swear allegiance to Yazid. The Battle of Karbala would never have happened. His five-year-old daughter, Bibi Sakina, would never have died in a dark confinement in Syria. His 6-month-old son, Hazrat Ali Asgar's neck, would never have been pierced by an arrow. His 18-year-old son, Hazrat Ali Akbar, would never have died from a spear to the chest. His brother, Hazrat Abbas, would never have lost his arms. His body and that of his followers would never have been trampled by horses on the battlefield of Karbala and left in the blistering sun for days. However, as painful and agonizing as this may sound, it was accepted by Imam Hussein. He found this to be the better option than to hand the keys of his grandfather's religion to an unjust tyrant. Imam Hussein preferred death over kneeling before evil. Imam Hussein gave his life so we can freely practice our religion. Imam Hussein gave his life so we can revolt against oppression and falsehood. Imam Hussein gave his life for Islam. Imam Hussein gave his life for you. The famed English author Charles Dickens wonderfully summarizes the motives of Imam Hussein when he says, "If Hussein had fought to quench his worldly desires, then I do not understand why his sister, wife, and children accompanied him. It stands to reason, therefore, that he sacrificed purely for Islam." Imam Hussein is a global personality who has inspired generations. His defiance of Yazid's oppression is a blueprint for anyone to follow, regardless of faith or ethnicity. Although evil was defeated on this day in 680 AD, it was not exterminated. The fight between good and evil is eternal. Evil will exist as long as there are better things to be achieved in life. And surely there will always be individuals who will oppress others to achieve their faulted goals. Look at the oppression in Gaza by Zionists. Look at the oppression in Bahrain by their government. Look at the oppression in Pakistan by these so-called terrorist organizations. The problem, my friends, is not the existence of evil. The real problem is that there are too many characters trying to emulate Yazid, and only a handful in comparison emulating Imam Hussein. I will now conclude my speech with the words of Imam Hussein right before he embarked on the Battle of Karbala. "I have not arisen for the purpose of exuberance, arrogance, corruption, but I have done so in order to seek reform in the nation of my grandfather Muhammad. I want to promote virtue and prohibit vice, and I want to follow the path and tradition of my grandfather Muhammad and the path of my father Ali ibn Abi Talib.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
These, my friends, are the words of a great leader, a saint, and a revolutionist. Thank you.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjam. Ahsan.